Hey, hi, hello, howdy everyone. It is me, korekiyo, coming back to you on a Tuesday for once. I'm recording this so early. Are you guys proud of me? Oh my gosh, I am gonna be heading home this weekend to visit my family, so I am finishing everything for this video super early, and it feels great, honestly. I should do this more often. Why don't people tell you about this work ethics stuff? Work ethics? Work ethic stuff. Anyways, without further ado, let's get right on into V3 Chapter 4. We had some more major canon divergence last time, with Kyo surviving Chapter 3, so let's see what happens. The first design for this chapter is Miu Iruma, and I love her so bad. She's so silly. I'm really happy with how this chapter's designs turned out, and I really liked drawing her. Her pose is a little bit silly, but I had a lot of fun injecting energy and life into it, and I think that her expression is just so much fun. I love that she just does not care. She is living her best life, and we love that for her. Now, a couple of the comments in the last video said that I should give her more of a gyaru aesthetic, and while I didn't go all the way with that, that definitely did guide how I looked for fashion references for her, and especially how I ended up doing her hair. I gave her some dyed roots. I dyed the underside pink because I thought that that would be very cute, and I gave her one of the characteristic gyaru scrunchies, and a little heart on her cheek because gyaru makeup is just so fascinating. I loved looking at all of the references, and even if I didn't go full gyaru with it, I still had a lot of fun trying to incorporate elements of that into her design in a way that it would be practical for someone who works with heavy machinery as often as she does. I also really liked giving her big, tall, clunky boots. I feel like she is probably not short on her own. I don't know what her canon height is, but in my mind, she's somewhere in the neighborhood of 5'8". But she has to be at least 6 foot with her boots. She just loves towering over people. And I love that for her, quite honestly. I had so much fun with her. And I love her color palette. This is a Miu love space. I'm sorry for how they wrote you, ma'am, but you are so lovely and so wonderful. Now, in this version, she does still plan to kill Ouma following the chaotic events of last chapter. She is losing trust in anyone and anything, and now there is an active killer in their midst. And she's scared, more than anything. But I want to paint a picture for you all. Imagine that you have been working with someone since the beginning of the game. Someone who seems to be afraid of nothing. Someone who plays it up like he's having fun here. Someone who seems to fit in here as much as he tells you that that's an act so the others don't question what he's doing. And imagine you know how smart you are, you know your own worth, and you know that out of everyone here, you're the most likely to escape. And now imagine this person that you've been working with starts messing around in the trials. He's just telling lies for no reason, and even if you reach the answer somehow, it's always despite him, never because of him. And imagine the day that you figure out that he is the person behind all of this, that it's his fault. And so you decide to kill him, even though there's a killer in your midst who's probably, concretely done something that you can prove. You are so sure of your theory that he's the mastermind, and he's just been playing you and playing your trust. And now imagine being Ouma in this chapter. Imagine you've been working with probably the second smartest person here. You both know how smart the two of you are, and neither of you is going to pretend otherwise. You can acknowledge that Miu is a genius. But she's got one flaw that you just can't reconcile, and it's that she is so driven by fear in every choice that she makes. And imagine being Ouma, and you're working with Miu, you're starting to trust her. And you joke that you're the mastermind, because it's part of your persona. You're not taking any of this seriously, because they've taken enough from you already, and by God, they won't have your fear. They can take your lies, and that is it. And imagine the day that you see Miu realize something. You see her change. She's not a good liar, but you know immediately. She's planning to kill you. And you don't like saying this. You're smarter than her, and you have to win this game. You have to get out, because you have to stop the people behind this game, and she's never going to do that with all of her fear. And so you have to kill her, the person that you've tried to trust since the beginning. Oh, I have so many emotions about this chapter. I have so much fun rotating it around in my brain. It is so compelling. When I think about it too much, I get a headache. It is some of the best writing in this game, genuinely. Just that dynamic of knowing that at some point they were working together. And then Ouma made the decision that he was going to have to get Miu killed. I have so many emotions about it. I think they're fun as friends too. I really like the dynamic. I really like everything about it. I am having so much fun with this chapter. Now, the next design is Gonta Gokuhara. I love him so bad. I had so much fun with him. He is the silliest ever, even if looking up references for him was a game of covering my screen with my hands so I wouldn't see bugs. I'm sorry, Gonta, I don't like bugs. They scare me. But his design, I tried to give him a little bit more covered skin because even in the heat, even if he was not comfortable with it, you know, getting stung by something poisonous is worse than being a little uncomfortable. Probably, most of the time. So I gave him some longer sleeves, I gave him a vest with various pockets so he can have magnifying glasses and various, I don't know what entomologists use. He has his bug catching box that I just made brown because I wasn't sure what to do with it and I didn't like the way the green looked there. But I also gave him gloves so that he can handle the bugs without damaging them, and knee pads, thicker knee pads on his pants so he can get down in the dirt without scraping his knees, and thicker rubber boots so that he, again, can get down in the dirt without injuring himself. He looks so intimidating, his expression and his flashlight is so silly, but he is just such a certified good boy. I had so much fun with his sprite. He's just a happy little guy. You can see I changed the, from our perspective, the right arm's position a little bit because I switched the side of his bug catching box. So I had his right arm, instead of resting on his hip, it's now resting on top of the box, keeping it steady because he is so careful. He is so lovely and wonderful. And no, I put some leaves in his hair and his splash art because I think that it's silly and cute that he tries to camouflage himself like that. And I also had fun with, you'll see this later, some of the handwriting on his piece. I try to make the handwriting at least a little bit look like each character's handwriting to a degree, or at least what I imagine it would look like. And so I had fun with the little, you know, play on how entomologist is kind of difficult to spell. It's got a lot of sounds in there, and especially if you know the word etymologist, you can kind of get tripped up a lot. Etymologist is a person who studies words, ironically enough. But Gonta this chapter, he is slightly on edge because there's a proven killer amongst them now, and he is looking for someone to trust, and he doesn't think of himself as very smart. We're doing away with the localizations, caveman speak, third person speak, but he doesn't think of himself as very smart, despite his talent being such a scientific field. He just thinks of himself as someone that likes bugs and happened to get noticed for it. So he goes to one of the people that he's spoken to before in prior cases, who he knows talks a lot during trials, and he's seen tends to at least have a part in the right answer getting found. He goes to speak with Ouma. And this is at the point in the chapter when Ouma is looking for someone that he can simultaneously cling to and push away and use to kill Miu, because Ouma wouldn't be able to kill her himself. He knows that. He knows that he is not physically the strongest person, that Miu would almost certainly win that fight, and that even if he gave himself the advantage, she deserves a more dignified death than that. And so, Gonta goes to speak to Ouma, and Ouma makes him a proposition. He says, hey, I think that you are smarter than you believe. And Ouma means what he says. He's not lying here, because sometimes telling the truth is far more effective. He knows that, as any good liar does. So he says, Gonta, you are smarter than you give yourself credit for. And I think that in this group, you are one of the few people that I wouldn't question the intentions of. And Gonta is flattered. He's honored that someone so smart thinks that he's worthy of calling smart. And it's an easy thing from there for Ouma to just ask, if anything happens, Gonta, would you keep me safe? Gonta agrees, because of course, why wouldn't he? I mean, Ouma and him are friends now, and friends keep friends safe, and he knows that Ouma is trying to stop this game, even if he doesn't quite understand how. And then the Neo World project, or the Neo World, is revealed. And Ouma immediately knows that this is Miu's turf now. She has a leg up in this game because he's smart, but she knows technology better than he ever will. And Gonta's strength is not going to be of any use if they're all distracted or incapacitated because of the technology. And so he goes into panic mode. He is not having a fun time with it, and he fights at every step to try and stay out of the world, but Miu keeps cornering him. It would be suspicious if he didn't join. It would be suspicious if Gonta didn't join. It would be suspicious if anyone joined, if anyone was left to their own devices. And what if they killed? What if someone woke up early? What if someone left the world and killed whoever was supposed to be watching over them? And Ouma's been trapped, he's been cornered, so what he has to do is he has to play dirty. He has to find a way to kill Miu in her own game, in her own territory. And he manages it. He looks into the program files and he sees what Miu's done, and he manages to get Gonta an unbreakable item. And he tells Gonta, Miu's going to try and kill me on the roof. And Gonta doesn't question it because Ouma is smart, and Ouma knows this. No lying necessary. And so he asks Gonta, please, you don't have to kill her, just incapacitate her. I'll take her out myself. Because he knows that, you know, he can at least do her the dignity. That's what Gonta's thinking. Because he knows that Miu and Ouma were working together previously. Ouma has told him that. And so, within the world, they find another flashback light, and Ouma hesitates because he already does not trust these lights. He thinks that something is fishy and the dots aren't connecting because there are too many of them painting an entirely different picture. But Gonta wants to know what it is, and so Ouma indulges him. He says, okay, we'll both take a look at it, but if it's fake, then, you know, we have to figure out what to do from there. And so, it's not quite time yet for Miu's murder plan, so they do have time to process the light, but they watch it, and Ouma sees the resolve in Gonta. He knows, deep down, this light, whatever he asked before, it's pretty much gone. This light has solidified to Gonta that everyone else is not someone that should be kept alive. There's no cruelty to it, but in the same way that you would put down a rabid dog, Gonta has made the decision to put down the rabid dogs of the cast. And Miu, with her already revealed murder plan, and Kyo, who's killed people before, they're gonna be his first targets. So Ouma is now trying to think his way out of both being murdered and watching Gonta go on another murder spree. And so they are walking back to the cabin. Ouma is trying to act as if nothing is wrong, as if he doesn't know what Gonta is planning. And Gonta he's right, Ouma's right. He is planning on killing Miu first because he promised to protect Ouma, and if Miu isn't going to kill Ouma, then Ouma has been protected. And he's going to kill Korekiyo, who they know has killed someone before. And then he's going to go through and he's going to ask everyone, are you the mastermind? And if anyone hesitates, if anyone shows doubt, he will kill them because he needs to protect the people that are worth keeping alive. Because Ouma was honest about being a terrible person, so he can trust Ouma. But he can't trust anyone else, all of these liars with their fake smiles and their fake empathy and their fake tears over the deaths of the others. And so they go to the manor, and they find Miu on the roof, and Gonta kills her. And it's not a secret. They all sign out immediately, and Gonta doesn't remember. He remembers feeling such a deep sense of certainty over something, but he doesn't remember what it was that he was so certain of. He doesn't remember why he suddenly feels this impulse to protect Ouma from korekiyo. He doesn't know why he feels so cold towards everyone else in the cast. And then the trial starts, and Ouma hates having to do this. He has told Gonta time and again that he is not a good person, but he wants to keep everyone from dying. And Gonta believes him because it's the truth. And so Gonta is more than happy to help during the trial as Ouma tries to get everyone killed. Shuichi does his power of friendship speech. He says, "We don't know who could have killed this, but we're going to try and figure this out." And he doesn't reveal at the beginning that it was Gonta, even though he knows. Ouma doesn't reveal this. And the realization slowly dawns on Ouma that every single trial Shuichi has been telling lie after lie, and everyone's been demonizing Ouma for it. But why do they love Shuichi so? Is it just because his lies are nicer? So Ouma, instead of revealing Gonta as the killer immediately and shattering their perception of his lies being harmful in the face of a nicer truth, decides, hey, no, you want me to lie about obvious things? You want me to lie and make it more palatable for all of you? Fine. I killed everyone, and I'm going to keep killing all of you, because I'm the mastermind. And Gonta doesn't believe this for a second. Gonta is the first to team up with Shuichi and to argue against Ouma having killed anyone. Gonta doesn't remember anything in the world, but he doesn't feel like Ouma left his side at any point. He would have known if he had, wouldn't he? And so Shuichi is forced to then argue throughout the entire trial against Ouma being the mastermind, against Ouma having killed Miu. And korekiyo the entire time is just there. He didn't get killed. I'm sorry, he's still alive this chapter. I like him. He's hanging out. He's their pet murderer. But throughout the trial, it slowly dawns on Shuichi that Ouma was lying because he wanted to hurt them more when they came to the realization on their own that Gonta had killed Miu. And Kaito can't accept this. You will hear more of my Kaito thoughts in the future. Kaito is unhappy with Shuichi accusing Gonta of murder. He is all too happy to believe Ouma's palatable lie that he did it all, that he's the mastermind, that he's the one who doomed them all to this life. And so Kaito is very fervently arguing in favor of killing everyone by voting wrong. Because he wants to believe more than anything that there are good people in the world and there are bad people in the world. And Ouma is a bad person and Gonta is a good person. So that means it's right for one of them to die and the other one to live. It's right for Ouma to be executed for Miu's murder and wrong for Gonta to be executed. But as the trial progresses, Monokuma volunteers to bring out Gonta's Neo-World avatar, and the avatar, seeing how the trial is going, it takes Kaito's side. Because the avatar, remember, it wants to kill everyone. And Ouma claimed that he was the mastermind, but the avatar knows that this isn't true. The avatar knows that Ouma is not a good person, but is better than the mastermind because he is honest in his cruelty. And the entire trial would just drag on as Shuichi has to doggedly shoot down time and again Kaito's points that Gonta is a good person, until it eventually devolves into Kaito and the Avatar arguing on their own in favor of Ouma being a bad person. And Ouma's long since gone silent. He's not having any fun with this. So, to conclude the trial, he calls attention to himself. He clears his throat, raises his hands, and he says, "Oh, everyone, you believed what I said before? I didn't actually kill Miu. Of course it was Gonta. Are you all stupid? It was a lie." And with that, Kaito is forced to admit the truth. Gonta is executed. Korekiyo lives another chapter, and everyone is mad at Kaito and Ouma in equal parts. And the execution, if I had more time, I would have maybe considered drawing up some concepts for this. It would not be the strange thing that it is in canon. I don't know what it would be, but I think that it would be not dignified, because this is Danganronpa. But I think it would be much more... Gonta is a martyr in this chapter, I think. He is a martyr for other people's ideals. And he is a martyr for his own ideals to a degree after watching the flashback light. Oh my gosh, hiccup. He is a martyr for his own ideals to a degree after watching the flashback light. And that is where this chapter leaves off. I had fun. I like thinking about this chapter so much. It lives in my brain. It is rotating around in there constantly like a rotisserie chicken. If you guys liked this video, if you liked the rewrite, if you liked my storytelling, please give it a like, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel if you want to hear me yap some more. I will see you guys next week. Bye-bye!